People have been using valerian root for centuries. But hold on, why is this one University of Washington study on valerian and insomnia claiming that this herb might not be as effective for a good night's sleep as we once thought? Hey folks, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name is Danae, and this is the Acadian Garden and Apothecary. And on this channel, we garden, we forage, we learn how to holistically take care of the earth and take care of each other. Today we are back to discussing herbal medicine, and our star today is a very popular herb that most certainly deserves its own video, and that is valerian. So valerian is a tall, flowering grassland perennial plant, and it's native to temperate regions like Europe and Asia. Like many of the herbs I discuss on this channel, it's naturalized to North America. So another example of naturalized plants would be like dandelion, burdock, violet. These were all introduced hundreds of years ago and are now considered part of the natural landscape within North America. So what's the difference between naturalized and invasive? That is a discussion for another video. Valerian has a rich history in traditional medicine, dating all the way back to ancient Greece and Rome. In fact, it's even discussed by the Greek physician Hippocrates, who described its therapeutic uses. If you've ever had sleepy time tea like celestial seasonings, then you've probably had valerian root. Many herbalists incorporate valerian root into their herbal teas and remedies. It's used to reduce anxiety, calm nervous tension, and also for sleep. In the 16th century, herbalists used valerian root to treat symptoms like tremors, anxiety, even heart palpitations. And in the 20th century, during World War I, it was actually given to soldiers to treat shell shock, or what we know today as PTSD. And during World War II, it was not only given to the soldiers, but also it was taken by the general public, especially in England, where it was widely used to help citizens relieve the severe stress caused by air raids. Go figure. In traditional medicine, this plant has also been used as a bath additive for stomach spasms, for epileptic seizures, ADHD, and interestingly, valerian shows more promise as a treatment for menopausal hot flashes than even its famed use as a sleep supplement. So that's a lot of uses. Let's dive into the modern scientific studies of valerian so we can understand how we as practice or aspiring herbalists can use this plant to improve more than just our sleep. And remember, I am not a licensed medical professional, and this is a mood-altering herb that could potentially interact with other prescription drugs. So if you're on any medication or herbal supplements, or you're nursing or pregnant, please consult your doctor before taking valerian root. Okay, so first, we cannot talk about valerian root before first talking about a little protein called gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA. So GABA is a neurotransmitter, which does the work of moving chemical information in the brain from one neuron to the next. For example, well-known mood-altering chemicals like dopamine and serotonin are also neurotransmitters. So dopamine influences reward, motivation, and motor control. Serotonin regulates mood, sleep, and appetite. And GABA is a neurotransmitter that actually suppresses the nervous system. In herbalism, we would typically call this a nervine herb, and nervines are commonly used for reducing anxiety and pain. So what does GABA have to do with valerian? Well, imagine that your brain is a superhighway with way too many off-ramps and too much traffic, and of course, there's an accident. But then your friends, gamma-aminobutyric acid, come along, and we'll call them Gabby and Gabe for short. So Gabby and Gabe are your lifesavers. They're standing in the middle of your brain's superhighway, and they're saying, hold up, slow down, no one's moving until we're all sorted out. But maybe for this traffic mess, the usual response is not enough, enter Chief Valerie. So Chief Valerie uses her skill set to convince Gabby and Gabe to stay on the shift longer, and she gives them better equipment like barricades and traffic cones to help slow the flow of traffic. And then she calls in reinforcements, more Gabbies and more Gabes. This is what the beneficial constituents in valerian do to the brain. So researchers believe that the main chemicals responsible for this are sesquiterpenoids, hydrovaleric acid, acetoxyvaleric acid, and valerenol. So by binding with GABA, they hold the door open for chloride to bind with the neuron, which makes its charge more negative and your neuron less likely to fire. Valerian also helps to slow the breaking down of GABA, allowing it to stick around on that superhighway in your brain and do the work of calming you for even longer. So in this way, valerian behaves similarly to prescription drugs like Valium and Xanax. It is important to note that scientists have not narrowed down the specific chemical responsible for valerian's calming effects, and there may not just be one. Almost all herbal medicines work holistically, so it's a series of complementary effects, each doing their own role to produce whatever the desired effect may be. And of course, people have been using valerian root for centuries. But hold on. Why is this one University of Washington study on valerian and insomnia claiming that this herb might not be as effective for a good night's sleep as we once thought? So this 9-night sleep study, plus 2 additional weeks of home observation of 16 women suffering from insomnia, involved a placebo group and a valerian group. And this valerian group was given 300 milligrams daily of valerian. And the hypothesis was that based on what we know about how valerian interacts with GABA, the results should show a better night's sleep for the valerian group. Compared to the placebo group, they found 0 improvement in sleep latency or how long it takes you to transition from wakefulness to sleep for the valerian group. But the study did find one significant difference between the placebo and the valerian group. The valerian group actually slept worse based on one specific sleep metric called wake after sleep onset, or WASO. So this is how long it takes you to fall back asleep after you've already been asleep. And for the women taking valerian, they experienced an increase of WASO by an average of 17.7 minutes. So if you're somebody with sleep maintenance insomnia, somebody who wakes up multiple times in the middle of the night, this would be incredibly unhelpful. So is this just a bad sleep study? Well, I would actually argue no, because across the broader medicinal landscape, this isn't an isolated failure at all. Both the National Institutes of Health and the Mayo Clinic agree that valerian's specific efficacy as a sleep aid is just it's inconclusive. Now, before you go throwing out your sleepy time tea or digging the valerian root out of your garden, let's put our herbalist caps on and think about this holistically. Let's talk about efficacy. So first, valerian has a gradual onset, and this means that it takes 2 to 4 weeks of daily use to see any beneficial effects. So this is not like most of your pharmaceuticals where you can take a single pill when you're having trouble sleeping and see results the very same night. There are simply not enough long-term studies of valerian's efficacy to completely prove or disprove its usefulness for sleep. Okay, and secondly, and this is a big one in the world of herbal and holistic medicine, is quality. So the simple truth is that many of the beneficial constituents found in herbs break down quickly if they're exposed to oxygen or water, also depending on the way that they're stored. So the longer valerian sits on a warehouse shelf or in your medicine cabinet, the less effective it will ultimately be. Quality is also affected by the plant's growing conditions, harvest times, and extraction methods, meaning that no one cup of valerian tea is going to be the same. One could be incredibly potent and the other could be chemically inert. And third, valerian constituents are easily cleared out of the body, contributing to its low toxicity, but this also affects how long valerian works. So valerian is effectively cleared out of the bloodstream in as little as 4 hours, meaning that halfway through a good night's sleep, the drug could start to wear off. Now, does this study and the results mean that valerian isn't worth having in your herbal medicine toolkit? Absolutely not. So in herbal medicine, we like to approach things holistically, which means that we never rely on one herbal constituent to be a sort of cure-all for every ailment. And that's why many herbal remedies, whether it's a tea or a tincture or a salve, are rarely just one herb, but a combination of complementary herbs. Now, we could get deep into the weeds, so to speak, about the herbs that pair well together, looking at things like key constituents or even herbal energetics, which is from Chinese medicine and is an accessible way of understanding herbs based on whether they are heating and cooling, moistening and soothing, or dry and activating. But we'll save that for another video. Important thing to understand is that we can use the combined anti-anxiety benefits of valerian with other proven herbs that are used for sleep and relaxation, like chamomile, hawthorn, tilia flowers, lavender, lemon balm, even catnip. And by using these together to make an herbal tea blend, you can get a good night's sleep and an anxiety-free day. If you're interested in learning how to make a sleepy time tea using plants you can grow in even a cold climate like ours here, please check out this video up here. We will be doing another video on valerian root, specifically how to identify it, because it can also be found and foraged in certain areas, and also how to grow it if you're interested in adding this to your own medicine garden. So be on the lookout for that video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye.